I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.
Hello and welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation's Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor. Well, that was quite an ugly inflation report. Oh, and it's all President Donald Trump's fault. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the annual inflation rate rose for the fourth consecutive month, hitting 3% for the first time since June. On a monthly basis, the Consumer Price Index rose at a hotter than expected pace of 0.5%. Core inflation, something that economists put more weight to because it eliminates volatile energy and food categories, unexpectedly rose to 3.3% in January. This was higher than the market estimate of 3.1%. From December to January, core inflation jumped 0.4%, once again higher than what the market expected. So what exactly happened last month? Well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics blamed higher energy, food, and shelter costs. While the energy index jumped 1.1%, the sub-indexes rose at higher rates. Gasoline surged 1.8%, fuel oil soared 6.2%, and utility piped gas services climbed 1.8%. On the food front, the food index rose 0.4%, and supermarket prices rocketed 0.5%. And as you can expect, the biggest factor in food inflation was eggflation. Eggs surged more than 50% monthly, but 53% in the 12-month period ending in January. As the Liberty Nation News reported, egg prices have rocketed due to the ongoing bird flu outbreak and higher input price pressures emanating from elevated energy, feed, and labor costs. Other food items that climbed last month were meats, particularly pork, beef, chicken, and fish and seafood. Fruits and vegetables were a mixed bag. Despite coffee prices soaring to all-time highs in the futures market, wholesalers have prevented the costs from seeping into the broader consumer market, as the coffee sub-index fell 0.1%. Experts have stated that shelter inflation would come down by now. However, it not only increased in January, it accounted for about 30% of the monthly jump. The only good news from the January CPI report was that services inflation declined for the third consecutive month. So, what now? Well, on the political front, here are two predictions. President Donald Trump will blame his predecessor, and the mainstream media will blame the new administration. Well, within hours, actually, those predictions came true. President Trump wrote on Truth Social shortly after the inflation data, "Biden inflation up." The news outlets started churning out these headlines. For example, from the London Guardian, "Inflation picks up speed after Trump promised to rapidly bring down prices." Or from the New York Times, "Trump softens tone on inflation after pledging to lower prices. More will certainly come." Now, it should be noted that inflation had already been picking up steam before Trump entered the Oval Office. The annual inflation rate has been rising since the Federal Reserve launched this easing cycle in September. Government spending remains out of control, the money supply increased every month last year, and interest rates were lowered by a full percent. Has the recent uptick in inflation reached its zenith? That is the hope. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland's inflation nowcasting model, next month's inflation reading could ease back to 2.9%. But a lot could happen between now and then, from President Trump's tariffs to changes in global energy markets. Whatever the case, inflation is here to stay and is proving stickier than what the experts had predicted. The current administration is already behind the 8 ball. Will it succeed in restoring inflation to 2%? The early days have led many to become skeptical, with consumer surveys suggesting inflation will be above 4% next year. In the end, consumers are hoping there will not be a re-acceleration in inflation. The fourth estate, they're told to be vastly different when covering these inflation reports every month. That's it for this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column on the pages of LibertyNation.com, and be sure to check out my previous Swamponomics TV videos and interviews. Liberty Nation does not endorse candidates or campaigns or legislation, and this presentation is no endorsement. Thank you. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.